Hello, everyone. I know some of your audios still may be connecting or your videos, but we want to be mindful of time and make sure that everyone gets the most out of these sessions. So we're going to go ahead and start. My name is Jeremiah McCoy, and I'm one of the graduate interns for Florida State University's Office of New Student and Family Programs. For tonight, we do have two special guests, one from the University Counseling Center and then one from the University Health Center. We also are joined by some of our pro staff members and then 3 orientation leaders. So in the chat right now, you should see on your screen, we're asking everyone to go through and mute themselves. If not, our orientation pals will go through and mute you all. And we ask that you keep yourselves muted throughout the duration of it, just so that we can be as, again, cognitive of time as possible. We want to get through a lot of information tonight, and we have just a few community guidelines that are also being posted in the chat right now. We ask that you make sure that you're appropriately dressed, that your questions, when you shoot them in the chat box, that they are appropriate questions, and that you don't have anything offensive on your screen or in the background or anything like that. We would hate to have to remove you all. We would let you know in a warning. And then again, if the behavior continues, we would have to remove you. And then unfortunately, you wouldn't have access to any of these webinar series for the remainder of the summer. But again, we are excited that you are here. And we have just a few things before we move into learning more about University Health Center as well as the University Counseling Center. So let's get started. We want to first take the time to say congratulations. So we know that this is not an easy feat for anyone, whether this is your first student that's coming, your 15th student that's coming. I sure hope nobody has 15 children in the room, but if so, that's up to you. That's a lot of money to pay out, but we congratulate you as well. We also want to point out that these are real humans that we have taken pictures of. So we didn't just find this on a clip art or anything. So this is you and potentially you and your student when everything is all good to go and we can come back to campus. But yeah, congratulations. We're proud of you, and we hope you are just as proud as yourself as your student is. And we hope to gain even more of your trust throughout this process and making you excited that you and your student chose Florida State University as your new home. We also would like to point out that Family Connection is something run and put on by the New Student and Family Programs Department. It strives to enhance student success through support, communication, and partnership with Florida State University's families. So on the next page, again, pointing out those are real humans there and a real family, and that could be you, and we hope that is you when all this is said and done. But yeah, you can stay connected with NSFP. We have lots of contact information listed there for you on the side, and you can get to know us a little more, send us any emails that you still may have, contact us, keep up with all the cool things we're doing, not just for the summertime, but throughout the course of the school year, whether that be virtual or in a face-to-face format. We are here for you. We want you to stay connected with us so that we can, again, earn your trust and support while you are supporting your student throughout this transition. Another thing that we have are e-newsletters. So again, just staying in contact with us, signing up for all of our web letters and just being up to date on everything that we're doing to provide support and in a safe space for your student as they make this transition. And then lastly, we have some dates here for you. So this is not the only session that we have. If you are looking at some of the things that we have up here and you're like, oh man, I missed that one. I wish I could have seen that, or I didn't know about it. All these meetings are being recorded and you will have the opportunity to go back online and you can review them at your own leisure time, as well as this one. This one is also being recorded. I also want to point out that tonight is health and wellness. So again, we have members from the University Counseling Center as well as the University Health Center. And those are the only questions and topics that we're covering tonight. We want to make sure that we are, again, just cognitive of everyone's time and are providing the best information as clear as we can. So we have broken it up to be very specific with what we're doing. And as you see, again, we have lots of different options, and you will have the chance to meet and be in contact with lots of other departments throughout the remainder of the summer. So as I mentioned, we do have 2 guests tonight. We have Maggie Hood from the University Counseling Center, as well as Mary Kay Avant. I forgot her last name. I apologize to put that on the screen, but from the University Health Services Center. And they will be presenting very shortly. Just a few more things to get through. This presentation is for health and wellness, and throughout the duration of the panel session that we'll move to after the 2 guests present on their departments, you will be able to look through your chat section. So at the bottom of your screen, you should have a few icons to click from. There should be an option to chat, and you would chat with one of our orientation leaders named Mikey, and you would be able to ask him any questions that you have related to health and wellness, and he would be able to get those questions over to me, and I would present them to the experts that would have more knowledge on those questions that you have presented for us. So again, in the chat section, you're looking for Mikey, and you should send your questions to Mikey, and he would be more than happy to assist you with those. Some Ignite Your Know experiences. I know some of y'all are looking at and saying, oh, 5:30 to 6:30. Your student, don't worry, they didn't just miss it. It isn't a one-time thing. So even if your student is maybe interested in the marching chiefs or fraternity and sorority life, and today is Monday, don't think that they have missed it. They can join. They've received information about these in their FSU email accounts, and they can join any Monday until the summer sessions are over. So feel free to have them log on to any of those opportunities that are listed below. It would give them the opportunity to just learn a little more in depth about the topics that we have, whether it be, like I mentioned, fraternity and sorority life, or just women's student union. And it would be a great opportunity for your students to connect with their other peers that are incoming to Florida State University as well, and just kind of hang out with some of the orientation leaders and kind of ease their minds. So we ask that you push those down to your students and have them be engaged and just learn a little more before the school year starts. And then lastly, we do have some cool Instagram things and social media things that your students can kind of share at their own time. They can tag FSU NSFP and just be more involved and kind of get to know not only us, but their peers as well, and see some of the cool things that are being done, and get excited to be a part of FSU. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then hand it over to Maggie Hood from the University Counseling Center.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thanks so much, Jeremiah. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. One of the things that I thought would make the best use of our time is that if I just walk you through our webpage at the UCC, because that's where you would get the most information, and helping you to kind of navigate this will help you to find information, but also help you to help your student if your student ever needed the information. And so, like Jeremiah said, my name is Magnolia, or Maggie, and I am a licensed mental health counselor. I'm one of the staff counselors at the Counseling Center. And we serve the student population on campus. We are the mental health hub for the campus. And so we see students Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And I'm gonna just kind of, like I said, walk you through our website, but I'm gonna also kind of highlight some of the things that may be of interest to you. And then, as Jeremiah said, if you have questions, feel free to send Mikey those questions, and I can continue to help you navigate that on here, or I can answer those questions for you. And so one of the things that will be of most importance to you is just really knowing that we are a diverse staff. Our staffing pattern is that we have a total of about 50 or so clinicians, and that is from psychologists to counselors to art therapists, and that also includes our training staff. And so we have a diverse staffing pattern that we, for the most part, cover any type of mental health need. And so when we see students, and like I said, we see students every day. If a student comes in on a first initial visit, all they have to do is come through the doors. We do not take any appointments. We don't make appointments. All your student has to do is come through the door, and that's called a walk-in appointment. And so just going through our website, if you would just kind of look here at our staff, you can feel free to peruse our staff directory. A lot of times we send students to our staff directory because sometimes students want to see the diversity in our staff body, and they want to see the specializations of our staff. And so from our director, Dr. Gomez, on down to our support staff is right here. And so if you have questions, if there is a particular staff person that you would like to reach out to, all you would have to do is to give us a call, and our administrative staff will be able to help you to get that information to and from the person that you would like to communicate with. In addition, when it comes to confidentiality, and this is one of the bit of information as it relates to families, we are a confidential source on campus. So when it comes to students engaging with the University Counseling Center, all engagements are confidential, with the exceptions of there being risk of harm. So if we don't have any concerns that the student is going to harm themselves or somebody else, and if we do not have a release on file, if you called to find out about your student, we would not be able to provide you that information. So if you would like that information, one of the things that we tell families and parents is to just have your student fill out a release of information, and they can do that with us in the counseling center, and then we are free to communicate your child's needs with you. Like I said, but if we don't have a release, we can receive any information from you. We just wouldn't be able to provide you any information. And so if your student came up to the counseling center, they can come in and say hello. And even that is confidential. So when it comes to them engaging with us, we are not able to confirm or deny any engagement with the students. And so again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to direct those, and we can get those covered for you tonight. In addition to confidentiality, when it comes to our communication policy, so we are in a bit of a precarious situation with COVID and the state that we're in to be in a virtual world, but we usually do not communicate with our students or with other sources through email, just because it's really not confidential. And so because of that, we prefer that you call us. If you email us, we will respond to you with a phone call. So sometimes we might get phone call emails from persons, and we respond with the phone call, like we said, because it's not confidential. And so now, though, with these states of the state of what we're in right now, through email, we will email the students. We currently email students about their appointments, but it's still not our mode of communication. So yes, we'll email them about their appointments, or we'll email them the Zoom links to their appointments, but we don't communicate through email. We'll still call them, leave them voicemails if possible, and we'll still expect for them to call us if they need to communicate with us. Additionally, when it comes to just navigating our site to find any resources, I'm going to go ahead to the student side, just to highlight a few pieces of information. When it comes to the services that we provide all mental health services, including individual counseling, group counseling, and couples counseling. We provide those for no charge. Our services are free of charge for FSU students. And then we also have other types of resources like our Renew program, which is our student-led program where our Renew students provide what we call individualized sessions for students that need support and help with different things like time management, adjustment to college, and students can go straight to our website. They can schedule those appointments with our Renew program, and then they will get a phone call back. And so our Renew program is one that we're very proud of, one that we definitely try to get students to engage with as well, because it's student friendly. So it's not, based off of our 8 to 4 schedule in particular, because it's based off of student schedule. So it makes it a little bit more flexible for students. But that's where you would get all of that information there if the student would like some support, but don't necessarily require anything clinical or anything related to, I need to only get help by a staff member. We do have our Renew program. Other resources that are on our site, particularly that may be of importance now, is any of our emergency services. We have some FAQs on there if you have certain questions. When you think about any types of self-help. So some students, counseling is still a bit stigmatized, and we definitely understand that. And so we also have resources for students. Again, if your need is not clinical and you just need some information, feel free to go straight to our self-help panel, straight to our resources, and you will get a ton of resources that will help you out as it relates to anxiety, depression, time management, and that's where you would get that information from. Finally, when it comes to wellness, and usually wellness is relaxation, it's nutrition, and again, we collaborate with other programs on campus. One program in particular is our CHALT program, and that program is through wellness, and you'll hear about that soon. But some of these services, you might notice that they overlap. And so if we see that a student comes in for a particular need and we think that their need could be better addressed by a different program, we will refer them to that program, and vice versa. There's times that students come in with something that is more, they go to UHS with wellness, or they go to UHS with on medical, but it's really something that's more related to mental health, and they will refer your student to us as well. So we work together pretty closely, and we have a bit of a treatment team model. And so we encourage students to come, and then we'll help them kind of sort out the needs a lot of the time. So a lot of times you as a parent don't have to have all the answers, and your student doesn't have to have all the answers, because we definitely use a collaborative approach. Now for parents, this is the information that you will probably get the most use out of. Some for specific needs is I want to draw you to common concerns. So as it relates to the specific needs of college students, these common concerns is usually what your student comes into the counseling center to discuss. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is just common things that we have, time to treat in our model at the counseling center. And so if you are realizing that your student may have some of these needs, then you already know, like, oh, I can just tell my student to just go to the counseling center, and they will be able to help them out. And so these are the most identified needs that your student will have. Also, parents, when it comes to what to expect, when it comes to what your students will end up as far as their services at the counseling center, for that first contact, whatever their need is, they come to the student, to the counseling center the same way every time. Like I said, we see students Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. We do not make appointments. So if they walk in, they will be seen. That's called a walk-in appointment. And that appointment is more of a consultation appointment. It takes about 25 minutes or so. Your student will tell us about whatever the difficulty or whatever the issue is that they're having, and we come up with a plan. Whatever that plan is, it could be a permanent plan. Hey, this is what you have to do. I'm gonna give you a referral to case management, and they're one and done, and they don't need anything else. Or if it's something that they need, that we need to make some additional steps into a plan, we provide that as well. But that is all done in that first contact. It's not a counseling session in the first contact. It's more of an opportunity for us to hear from the student, find out what their needs are, and then help them create a plan. When they have follow-up appointments, those are done by appointment with their provider that they were given on their first appointment. And those typically run anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes based on whatever that type of appointment is. Additionally, as I wrap up, when you have an emergency on campus, if your student has a mental health crisis, a mental health emergency on campus, off campus, whatever that is, your student is able to get mental health support 24/7. All they will have to do is call our same number, our 850-644-TALK, and if they are having this crisis after our regular work hours, they will be directed to our after-hours staff. The after-hours staff is available nights, weekends, holidays. Basically, when we shut our phones off, they shut their phones on, and they are there for our students until we open up again. They let us know that they made contact with the student, and whoever that provider is will reach back out to that student, or whoever the staff member is that was given that report will reach out to your student. So basically, we are the mental health hub, like I said, for your students, and we provide both individual, group, and outreach services like this, or we provide also trainings. Our trainings that we provide is our suicide prevention training, which is our nose care training, in addition to our mental health boot camp, which is basically helping students how to identify mental health needs and how to seek support for mental health needs. And so hopefully this was helpful, but I encourage you to jump on our site, poke around, feel free to ask us questions. You can reach us at the Counseling Center, like I said, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Again, my name is Magnolia or Maggie, so you can feel free to ask for me, or any of our staff really will be able to answer any questions you might have about getting your students support, even if you're not really sure, even if you just want to know, if you have a question. Sometimes parents have questions. I really don't know what the answer to this is, and who do I ask? Just give us a call. We'll love to consult with you. You can run it by us, and we love to be able to help you out. Thank you.
All right, I think it's my turn. Good evening. My name is Mary Kay Avant, and I am the Communications Manager for University Health Services, and we are going to be your student's doctor's office away from home. I'm going to share my screen, a PowerPoint presentation. There is a lot of information. There we go. There is a lot of information on this PowerPoint. I may have to skip over a few things, but I don't want you to fret. You can always go back to our website. The PowerPoint is on there in its entirety, along with a multitude of information for you to navigate through whenever you have time. So we'll start here. The Health and Wellness Center is centrally located on campus. It's changed a little bit with COVID. We used to welcome the students to come in and utilize the lounge area and Wi-Fi hotspots. And right now, of course, we're doing screenings at the door and taking a lot of precautions given the current climate. But all of those things, we are more than a clinical space. There are classrooms located within our building, the lounge area, and places for folks to plug in. The transition is a big piece of this. So currently right now, your student is home, they're with you, and they are transitioning from dependent care to independent care. So I'm sure right now you're making doctor's appointments for them and making sure they get there on time and all of those important things. And when they transition over to UHS, they will now be in charge of their own health care. And if that is not frightening enough, we need their permission to speak to you. Now, there are a couple of caveats to that. If your student is under the age of 18, you still own them. And if they are over the age of 18, unfortunately, you just own their debt. But we definitely need this disclosure form filled out. Keep in mind that they can list whomever they would like on this disclosure form, but they have the right to rescind that or modify it at any time. So they may put you on there right away, you may call, they may change it. So make sure you just keep a clear line of communication open with your student, and it should be okay. Now, I will say, if there's an emergency, we will put you in a place to advocate for your student. We may not be able to give you all of the information, but we will definitely reach out to you and put you in that position. The consent to treat for minors is another form that must be on file for us. We'd hate for a student to come in or call and that appointment have to be stopped in its tracks. We have to get this form on file and everything like that. So if we can get that ahead of time, it is very helpful. I'm going to transfer over to some of the services that are offered within UHS. Currently, our hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. We are in an appointment-based system. So currently right now you have to call, walk in to schedule an appointment. We did open up online scheduling last year. Right now we have kind of put that to the wayside given the current climate, and that it will come back eventually. So just be on the lookout for that. But those are the 3 ways that you can make an appointment. We do have staff available until 5 p.m. So if there are questions, they definitely can still reach out. But that appointment time frame is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are currently offering telehealth. I do not foresee this going away anytime soon. It is a service that students can use right now. Even whenever we come back and we're on face-to-face, our intentions are to keep the telehealth service. It has been a hit, especially during this time. So just if that is a need, if the student doesn't have the time to come over, telehealth is definitely an option. So what to do if a student needs to be seen after hours? We do have an after hours system of care. We have our Healthiest You, which is a telemedicine as well. It can be accessed 24/7. We have various walk-in clinics throughout Tallahassee, urgent cares and emergency room. Now, I will say, just make sure that your student knows what that looks like when they're going outside of University Health Services, what that copay looks like, that deductible. Can they be seen at one of these walk-in clinics? Just contact your insurance and make sure that all of that is kind of ironed out before they come, because I really don't like for students to show up and get a surprise. Our patient portal is super important. They can communicate with our clinicians. We have definitely moved into that whole virtual platform, and the students like it and we like it. It's super easy to access, and if they want lab results, they don't want to have to wait for somebody to call, they can check that system. So I just encourage that once they get set and ready to go, that they sign up for the patient portal. We do not have a pharmacy on campus, or on site. But there is one that is close. It's on West Pensacola. It's a CVS. However, here's a list of the ones throughout Tallahassee, and we will send the prescription wherever the student elects. So as I said earlier, currently right now we are doing an entry screening process. So just for the safety of our students and staff and visitors, we have implemented the screening measures. They'll be asked various screening questions, temperature will be taken, and face coverings must be worn inside the building. I'm going to kind of run through floor by floor. On the first floor, we have our admission health requirements, which is our compliance. This is a big thing, that disclosure form, immunization records, anything that has to do with the compliance, your insurance. This is where you would handle it through this office. We have our triage clinic, which is staffed by our registered nurses. During peak times, it can be really difficult to get an appointment. So I always encourage folks to reach out to our triage department. They can talk to you over the phone. You can walk in. This is a completely free service for the students. If they're not real sure if they need that appointment, this is a great place to start. That nurse is going to do an assessment and they're going to help them navigate through the system. Yes, you need an appointment, or here are some over-the-counter at-home care plans that you can follow. We have our priority clinic, which is our version of an urgent care. So they can do IV hydration, not IV medication, suturing, things of that nature. We have an allergy clinic. It's staffed by a registered nurse. So if your student is currently receiving allergy shots from a clinician outside, back at home, all of that can be transferred over and we can handle that within our clinic. We do have diagnostic imaging, so they can do x-rays, spirometry. We can't do CAT scans or MRIs. Should a student need that, they will refer them out into the community for that. And then we also have Quest Diagnostics Lab in-house. And I will say a little side note to that, please make sure that your student knows insurance, which lab their insurance that they're contracted with. Because you can go to Quest and you may be contracted with LabCorp. Quest is going to fulfill that lab order, but you are not going to be happy with that bill. So I strongly encourage maybe just reach out and find out which one that your insurance will cover. On the second floor, we have our fitness and movement clinic and our physical therapy department. They work in tandem with one another for some of their treatment modalities. On the third floor, we have some third-party vendors, Morgan Dental. They are a full-service dental office in our wellness, sport, and spine, so chiropractor, massage, things of that nature. You would have to check with their billing. They bill separately from us, but they are in-house, so it kind of makes it convenient for the students. On the fourth floor, we have our Center for Health Advocacy and Wellness. I know that was touched on briefly. They are our outreach program. So you will find that they do a lot of things, but with nutrition counseling, sexual counseling, wellness coaches, financial, sleep, things of that nature. We have our primary care clinics. We are staffed with MDs, DOs, APRNs, PAs, and the nurse practitioners. Students can come in and see any one of those. We have our fast track clinic. So during our peak times when it comes to flu, we'll see a lot of that, or strep throat, things of that nature. So we try and push students through there and leave those appointments in primary care for appointments that may take a little bit longer. We also have our travel clinic. If your student plans to travel abroad, there are various immunizations forms that need to be filled out, and we would have to go through this travel clinic process. On the fifth floor is our administrative offices. That's where I'm located, so should you ever need anything, you can always reach out to me. Our billing office, medical records, women's clinic. We do have full service women's clinic with the exception of OB care. Should a student become pregnant while they were on campus, we will have to refer out into the community. We have a psychiatry clinic, our referrals department. So if they are being referred out into that community, we do have somebody in-house that will help them navigate that process. We will not just say, you have to go out into community, see you later. We do have somebody that will assist with that. And then our course drop-in withdrawals department. If your student has any chronic conditions or special circumstances, please send that information over to us as soon as you can. It's always helpful to have that information in the system, especially if they need or should be wearing a medical alert bracelet. I know that they don't like to do that. It's not fashionable, but we need to know those things. And there are handy apps within the Apple phone and the Android. I know in the Apple, it's a health app. You can put all of that information in there, and medical professionals are trained to look at that. And they don't, even if the phone is locked, they can access it. When we get into insurance and billing, I know there will be lots of questions, and hopefully we can help you in that Q&A. So I'll kind of just go over that. And like I said, it is on our website. I'm going to show you a list of insurance carriers that we accept. And then if you can, just always reach out. I always suggest reaching out to your insurance company and saying, you know, my student's going to be at school at Leon County, Tallahassee. Just want to make sure that the coverage is there and iron all that out prior to coming. This is a current list of the insurances that we are in network with. I'll leave it up there for just a split second. And just know that we don't take copays from the students at the time of visit. We never want to deter them from coming in when they're sick. And generally you pay that health fee. And so generally when they come in, if it's a sick appointment, that is covered. The time when you'll see billings and amounts on their student accounts, it's when they've had procedures. So lab, diagnostic imaging, specialty visits, things like that. But everything is discussed up front. We're not going to perform a service without letting the student know. And it will be billed to their, if they do have anything left over, it will be billed to their student account. This is the current student health resource plan insurance rates as it sits right now. So if you do not have insurance, or if your insurance coverage is not what you would like it to be, you do have the opportunity to purchase this plan. I will say it is a really good plan. It will follow them when they go home for spring break or on winter vacation, things like that. So some tips for first year students. So when they come back to campus and they're face-to-face, I always like to say, make sure they have their insurance card. If you don't want to send them with a physical copy, that is okay. Just make sure that they have a copy of the front and the back. The back has some really important information in it, but a photo will suffice. And then know your allergies and reactions. And maybe send them with an over-the-counter medication, thermometer, Band-Aids, simple things that they use at home on a regular basis would be great for them to have here. I know a lot of times they say they have a temperature, you ask them what it is, and they're like, yeah, I don't know, I don't have a thermometer. So the entire 4 years that they're here, they never like to allocate that $4 or $5 to purchase one. So it would be super helpful if you do that. These are some different mediums that you can reach us or find out about information that we may be putting out. We invite you to like us, share all of that great stuff. And then contact. So here we have Dr. Amy Magnuson. She's our director, and this is her email. We have Ryan Pagel. She's our Associate Director of Clinic Operations, and this is her email, and then me and my email. Anytime you need anything, just keep in mind that email is not a secure form of communication. So if there's a specific need or something that you need to discuss with any one of us about your student, send us an email. Just say, I need to talk about so-and-so, and we'll be happy to reach out to you. And welcome to FSU. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jeremiah.
All right, great. Thank you, both of you. That was very, very informative, so I appreciate it. I am getting quite a bit of messages in the chat, so I would ask that you kind of send those over to Mikey as we transition into the Q&A portion. We want to wrap this up at about 7:30, so we will speed through as many of these as we can. but I will let the two professionals answer all of those questions as they know best. So the first one is for Maggie, and this question is, if my student is connected with the Office of Accessibility Services, can they seek mental health services through that department, or they still would directly go through the counseling center?
Yes, they would go directly to the counseling center. We work with the Office of Accessibility Services, so sometimes we refer students back and forth, but as far as their mental health needs, as far as even sometimes their adjustment needs, they would come to the counseling center, and we will be able to help them navigate those parts. We are located not far from the Office of Accessibility. We're kind of located right next to the University Health Services building, and so we are in the Ask You Student Life building. The way that I describe it, since the campus is humongous, is we are in the building with the movie theater, and we're on the second floor, and we're the only thing on the second floor. So you're already in the neighborhood. You don't just wander onto us. You come to us specifically, come straight to us, and we'll help them with that.
Cool, thank you. The next question, I'm not quite sure who it's for, but it says, if my daughter has a power of attorney for HIPAA, financial decisions, and health information, does she need to bring this with her?
Yes. Randy, is that something they need to keep on file? I'm going to say yes.
Yes, it's something they would actually need to put on file with our medical records department.
Would you mind dropping that email address in the chat section?
Sure.
Or is that
No, that's fine.
Legal?
Actually, I'm gonna actually put in a fax number instead. I think that would be better.
Okay. I was gonna say I don't know how legal that is, but
yeah, you don't want to send it through email just with the sunshine laws and all. Bear with me just a second. It is. And I'm going to confirm that that is the correct number before I submit. So give me one moment. Multiple computers going here. Give me 1 second.
not a problem. While we're
I can go ahead if you want.
I was going to say, while we're waiting on Randy to confirm that, the next question again is for Maggie. Are counseling services covered by tuition dollars? And after the sixth session, who pays for it and how will that be billed?
And so we do not bill for any of our services. So whether that's individual, group, even any of our assessment services, those services are from fees. And so we don't bill for any of our services. Every year, your student is given a what we call a set number of sessions, and that is typically 12 sessions from August to August. And so in the event that they need more sessions, we definitely, as the providers, we collaborate with your students so they'll get more. But those sessions, within those 12 sessions is what they would get. And like I said, we don't bill. And so if they end up going over, they just go over. But if they are in need of services through us, we don't bill. Now, on the other hand of that, if we end up referring them to the community through our treatment coordination program, that is where they would then be using their health insurance, depending on the funding sources of the community providers that we have. So if they are seen in-house, there's no charge for services. But if for some reason, whatever that is, sometimes students elect to go to the community, and sometimes they go to the community because of their needs, they would then use their insurance for that. They work very well with students to help minimize those costs. So they'll help if that means getting a provider that uses a sliding scale. Sometimes the providers don't take their insurance. Sometimes you might have insurance that does not work in Tallahassee or in this area. And so we work very close with families and students to make sure that we can still get them with the provider and keep them whole financially too.
Great, thank you. The next one is for Mary Kay. How accessible / will all of the resources that you listed be available even with COVID restrictions?
So obviously we've had to reevaluate, and we've added in, of course, our telehealth. As of right now, there are no restrictions on our services that are currently being offered. It's just how. So whether it's face-to-face or it's that telehealth. And if it's anything that we are not able to see, then again, we will refer out into the community. But as of right now, there are no restrictions on our services.
And then this is another one, pretty much the same question for Maggie. Will you and your department be able to provide services with COVID restrictions, AKA one-on-one sessions in the same room?
Definitely. We have been providing services virtually since March. And so what we do is your student will call in, they tell us what their needs are, and then we will then email them the paperwork that allows them to initiate services, and we email them the Zoom link. And so then we provide what we call telemental health to the students at that time. And we do that for not only individual counseling, but all of our groups are done virtually as well. Going forward, we're still working out the logistics as it relates to individual sessions towards the fall, but all of our groups will stay virtual at least into the fall. And so any group work will always be virtual, so your students will not be in groups at the counseling center for group work, but those one-on-one sessions, those will also be subject to the students' needs, subject to whatever guidelines come down in the future.
Great, thank you. The next one is for Mary Kay again. What information does my son or daughter need to submit regarding allergy shots that they receive monthly? And what is the contact information for that specific department?
If you go to our website, under healthcare services, there's a section on allergy. There's documentation, there's a form that has to be completed. And you send that over to the allergy nurse. She will review it. If she needs anything additional, she'll definitely reach out. But we definitely need that information. And I do know that somebody else did send me a message that asked if their student needs to bring the serum for allergy shots from their current doctor, or if the serum can be prepared at UHS. We do not prepare any serum at UHS. All of that will have to be shipped over to us. So we can receive that and store it at UHS, but we do not prepare it.
Great, thank you. The next one is for Randy. Does University Health Services accept Florida Healthy Kids Insurance, TRICARE Prime, and I think that's it. I'm sure there's another one in here, but for right now, those are the two that I am receiving a lot of.
Okay. Unfortunately, at this time, TRICARE Prime pulled out of this area about a year ago. We were contracted providers, but they actually left the Tallahassee area completely. So we are considered out of network for Prime, but we are in network for Standard. We will still bill. It'll go in as an out of network. If it's possible to get a referral from your primary care provider, they will typically still pay pretty well. The services that I see that we run into a little bit of problem with Prime tend to be more psychiatry and physical therapy. So for general services, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of out-of-pocket expense, but for those two, you potentially could. As far as Florida Healthy Kids, we are not yet Medicaid providers, but we are working towards it. And Florida Healthy Kids does fall under that Medicaid umbrella. So while it's something we are working towards, we're not there yet. And COVID has definitely slowed that down as well. But we will hopefully get there at some point, but again, not there yet. We will work with your student though, if they need to come to us. We're typically still a more affordable option for most things. So I would encourage them, especially for a sick visit, to still come to us. We're probably gonna be the least out of pocket for them. And we can work with them if they do get some unexpected expenses from the health center.
Great, thank you. The next one is for both departments. If we have, it's another power of attorney question. If we have our own medical power of attorney or just general power of attorney, is there no way to get around us reviewing records presented by our students?
Randy, I'll let you.
I don't have the answer to that. I would honestly have to defer to our medical records department for that. Let me pull their number real quick and we can provide that for you to ask that question to.
And I would say a version of the same. When it comes to your student, the power of attorney is a bit of a wrench. And so we know that a release of information is usually what we need in order to give information. And so I too, like Randy would say, just give us a call, and our director and our clinical director, Dr. Don English, will be able to help with that question, because that's a very good question, but it's one that we don't get often, so I'm not sure what that answer would be. And our contact information is 850-644-TALK, T-A-L-K, and I'll throw that at the bottom. I think India put it down there, and that's the best way to get the answer to that for us.
Great, thank you.
For University Health Services, ours is 850-644-5523, and I'll send that in a message real quick as well.
Great, thank you. The next one is for Mary Kay. Will there be free COVID testing on campus, as well as how do we know if a student is missing a vaccine? And if they are missing one, would the University Health Center be able to provide them? And it has /flu shot.
Okay, yeah, no, lots of great questions. Yeah, so COVID is the hot topic, and testing. Right now, currently FSU is testing the faculty and staff. And so I know that students are being done on a limited basis if they are experiencing symptoms, if they feel that they're, they're asymptomatic, they can call the health center, speak to somebody there. Even if they're not, if they're just concerned, always reach out when in doubt. As far as flu shots, yes, flu shots are big for us. So that is something that we offer every fall. Those are free to the students. There's no charge for the flu shot. The student will not come out of pocket. Generally, we see those come in around September-ish. So I will put out communication around then as to when and where students can receive those. As far as your immunizations, if you are lacking something, if you have a hold, you will know it. You won't be able to register for your classes. So those are the ones that you need to get done, and there are ones that are mandatory. As far as other immunizations, if it's something that somebody's wishing, whether it be an HPV or something of that nature, you can reach out to UHS. We take care of those. If it's not something we offer, which is rare, then we can refer you out. I hope that answered all of those pieces. But the student testing, mass testing, I will go back to that real quick. There are plans for that, so just stay tuned. I'm not sure what they are. All of that is still coming together, but I didn't want to dismiss you on that. So as far as mass testing, as where to go, stay tuned. It's coming.
Great, thank you. The next one is for Maggie. What if my student does not, after the second session, like who they're paired with? Do they get to restart in the session numbers, or do they pick up where they left off?
So the session numbers don't change from provider to provider. So if they come in and they're seeing a provider and for whatever reason they change to a different provider, the session numbers don't start over, they continue. But like I said, we say it's the 12 because there is a number. It's not like bottomless counseling. But if the student has more needs, we make sure that we address the student's needs. So if the sessions go into the 13 and the 15 or whatever that number is, we make sure we address the student's needs. And so, we don't want you not to feel so caught up on the number, because like I said, we do not charge. And in the event that we work with your student, and we know that the student's needs would kind of go over that 12, and we think that it may be best that your student work with somebody that will provide a greater, more what we call more frequent services, then we'll handle that in the beginning, and we'll make sure that we don't get into a place where it makes treatment cumbersome for the student. So no, the numbers don't start over. There are no rollovers from semester to semester. It's just the 12. And like I said, we address the needs needed for the student first. That is of utmost importance.
Great, thank you. The next one, I am going to, Mary Kay, I'm going to send it to you privately. I don't know some of those words, so I don't want to violate any policies or anything, so I'm going to keep that one to myself. The next one is, where do I find forms that my daughter, oh, we already asked that one too, I'm sorry. Does Help First, ooh, I don't know that in how to pronounce that insurance either, Randy, so I will send that one to you. Here we go, sorry. Is the meningitis vaccine still highly recommended?
So along that vein of just immunizations in general, we like for the students to reach out and have that conversation with our clinicians. That I feel like that's an individual conversation that has to happen between the student and the clinician, which they definitely can share with their families and make that call. But with things changing and things are so fluid all the time with immunizations across the board, I think that that's a topic that I think I would leave it just there. So if there's one that you have in mind, speak to your student about it, have that student speak to the clinician and have that conversation. See what's best for that individual.
And Mary Kay, if I could tag on to that, I think that the meningitis is more highly recommended for those particularly living in a dorm situation, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something to bear in mind as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy.
Okay, great, thank you. Speaking of living in residence halls, the next question, which will probably end up being our last one, is for both departments, but the question is, what if our student comes to campus and then FSU decides to close things due to COVID outbreaks? Would both services still be able to be provided even if our student has FSU insurance?
So UHS has remained open this entire time. We are here for the student. As far as I can see the forecast, yes, UHS is here. We'll be around. So, and that's why we shifted to that virtual online platform. So even if your student can't be on campus, we have telehealth.
And I would say the same thing. We too will be here. Our sessions, like I said, we've been offering sessions virtually. And we also have, if you go on our website and look at the workshops, we have workshops on our website that are offered Monday through Friday, every day of the week. So jump on that schedule and see, because those are also ways that your students can get information and get some interaction with a staff member, because those workshops are all live. So even though like the ones that Jeremiah is saying that happen weekly, we have ones that happen all week long. And so in the event that they need more support, in the event that they, because of something that happens on campus and they do need to defer to more services, they can jump on our website, they can drop into a workshop. All the workshops are drop in, they don't have to RSVP. All they have to do is click the link at the time of the workshop.
Jeremiah, is it okay if I go ahead and answer those couple of questions that I had?
Absolutely.
Great. So the question is, my student is receiving subcutaneous IgG treatments. Do we work through the health center or accessibility office to make arrangements for medication and nursing arrangements? You can definitely reach out to the health center. We receive various medications in for students and all the time. So reach out to UHS, speak to one of our clinical coordinators, whether it be Ryan, whose information I attached on the PowerPoint. One of the nurses, one of our medical staff will reach out and have that conversation with you. But definitely check in with us on that. And then the other one that I was asked is, are those presented services available for students that have a Florida Blue health insurance or just FSU health plan? So I was going to say, Randy, you can help me, or this one's for you. You do not have to have the university sponsored insurance to access services at UHS. We do have that list of insurances that we accept. And I always like to throw this out there, and I don't think I did when I was doing the presentation. The insurance that you use for your admittance to school is different than the insurance that we may accept. So just make sure that you check on our website to see if we're in network, or like Randy said, when in doubt, just call.
Absolutely. And it's a great idea to call your insurance company and just find out. And I'm actually going to share our tax ID number. It's something you can give your insurance company, and they can basically use that number to run us and see if you're in network or not. I'll send it out in chat as well, but it is 591-961-248. And I'm going to send that out now. Let me switch this to everybody real quick. But that's a good number to have. And it's also on our website on the insurance billing page, so that you can access that. And it's got some good ideas of the questions that you might want to ask when you call your insurance company. And one thing to tag on to that Mary Kay said earlier about the lab is super, super important. If you know for sure that you need to go to Quest or you need to go to LabCorp, make sure your student knows, because they are going to be asked that first time in, and we kind of set that as a default for them. So if they come in, Quest will be more than happy to take their money. But if LabCorp is there in network, they're going to see some huge bills from Quest. So we really don't want them to run into that. So if that's one thing you teach your student before you send them to us, make sure they know which lab they need to use with their insurance, because it is a big deal at times. Let me get that posted for you real quick.
Okay. And as Randy does that, like I said, we want to be cognitive of everyone's time. So that does wrap up our Q&A session. We will be more than happy to share email addresses for each of the offices yet again. So India will be doing that in the chat section. And we will hang around for just a few more minutes at the end, again, just to make sure that we cover as much as we can. But again, it seems to be the overarching theme here of please make sure you call these departments. Be patient with them. They're busy on a normal day without COVID. So this unfortunately just makes things a lot more difficult for them. They are here for you, and they're trying to, again, build that trust and not only FSU, but their specific departments. So give them a chance to get back to you. Leave a voicemail, give your number so that they can maybe reach out to you. And again, if they don't answer, give them a call back or shoot them an email. But we do appreciate you all for every single one of you. We had over 200 individuals here tonight. So we appreciate your time, and thank you. You are good to go, and we hope we helped you out.